Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy. Today we'll be doing a flow focus on the hamstrings, and we'll just go ahead and get started and legs up the wall. If you have blocks and a strap, you can go ahead and grab those as we get settled, and then I'll just talk a little bit while we're in our centering posture. So for legs up the wall, just have your sacrum pushing into the mat, but that's your low back and your tailbone. And you can have a bend in the knees, or if it's more comfortable to straighten them right off the bat, the flexibility is there. You can go ahead and do that, either pointing or flexing the feet, keeping this as passive or as active as you like. And then take your left hand over your belly, and then your right hand over your left, and then just start to feel your belly rise and fall with your breath, letting it be soft. So in today's flow, we're going to work towards the full splits, and that word may intimidate a lot of people, but don't let it. It's just a pose, just whatever power you give it is the power it has. And it's just meant, we're all searching for a certain sensation, and for some of us that means going towards poses like the splits. You don't ever have to eventually get your pelvis to the ground if that's not something you're working towards, but you can still work towards and have your own variation of the splits. And we will find that today and just work on feeling good in your body, not pushing past pain, just riding the edge of discomfort. And then eventually that discomfort zone will expand. You're comfortable, like what's comfortable for you will expand as your body begins to open. And you may notice more flexibility in your mind over time as well, becoming less reactive. Take a few more deep breaths here. If you're familiar with the Ujjayi, breathing it's ocean, breathing it's that constriction in the back of your throat. So you can imagine like you're fogging up a mirror, but then keep your mouth closed as you do that, so you're slightly constricting your swallowing muscles. And then from this position, we're going to come into some core work. So extend your fingers, your hands above you, and then interlace every finger except the index and the thumb. So this is Kali Mudra. It's just a hand gesture. It signifies power. So you'll extend the arms as much as you can and then lower down the right leg to a hover. And then see if you can lift your chest up slightly as you extend the pointer finger in the middle. So on the inhale, we'll lower the hands back behind us, raise up the right leg, and on the exhale, you'll lift your chest back up into the center. So on the inhale, we lower, legs come together, and then exhale, the other opposite leg extends as you lift up. And we'll do 5 more like that. Inhale. Exhale, lift up. Engage your core, squeeze your inner thigh muscles. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift up, keeping the tailbone to the ground. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift up, left leg lowers. Inhale, left leg up, arms back behind you. Exhale, lift up, right leg lowers towards the ground, pointing the toes if that's comfortable for you. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lift up the chest. Inhale, lower the arms. Exhale, lift up, let the shoulders be soft, collarbones wide. Inhale, arms above. Exhale, lift up the chest, pointing, like you have like a peaceful yogi gun pointing at your left toes. Inhale, lift up the left leg. And exhale, extend the right. Last one. Inhale, lower the arms back above your head. Exhale, lift up, chest, hold. And then you can lower down the right or the left heel to the floor and then take a bend in it. Take your hands, wrap it around the right hamstring, and then just start to flex and extend the leg. Bend, extend, bend, extend. And then you'll just play, seeing how that feels in your hamstring. You can even push the hamstring into the hands and pull with the hands. And then try to bring the shoulders towards the ground. From here, if it's comfortable, you can extend that left leg back to straight. Trying to keep the heel of the left foot pushing into the ground. Inner thigh is engaged, so the foot's not flopping out to the left. It's more trying to keeping it centered with the big toes facing directly up. And then if it's comfortable, you can start to walk your hands up to the calf. Maybe this is where you stop. Maybe you go up to your ankle. Maybe you go to the sole of your foot and start to pull it down, bending at the elbows. wherever is comfortable in your body. We're all searching for the same sensation. Just go to wherever your body needs today. You may have a strap. That strap we have at the top of the mat, or maybe you have a towel or something, or a t-shirt, and you can wrap it around, pulling the leg closer. You can have a bend in the knee, and you don't have to have the leg all the way straight. There's no perfect way of what this is supposed to look like. This is just a reclined, big toe to hand pose. You can even be traditional and take the index, middle, and the thumb around the big toe to the right as you pull in, keeping the shoulder blades relaxed. We'll stay here for one more breath. And then exhale, let the right foot go, bending the knees, and then just see how that feels in your body. And then from here, take the left hamstring, left leg, extend it up. Take the hands behind the left hamstring, pushing hamstring into hands, hands into hamstring, and then bend and extend the leg, keeping active engagement in both legs still. Not letting this right knee splay out, but keeping it engaged, inner thighs engaged as we bend and extend. And then we'll stay and hold again. You can extend that right leg up or down with the heel pushing into the ground. And then if you'd like, you can even play with some hip traction as you take your left, kind of like a horseshoe grip, your index and your thumb, up onto your left hip crease and push it down, pushing that left hip down towards your right heel. And you can start to bring that left leg closer. If you have a strap, you can even use the strap right here. And then you can reach your hands up the calf, the ankle, the sole of the foot, whatever is comfortable for you, just right in that edge of comfort. Expanding your comfort zone. And you can think of expanding your comfort zone off the mat too, doing things that just right in that edge of discomfort, maybe things you don't really want to necessarily do, but the more you do them, the easier they get. Just expanding your mind and your body. We'll stay here for just one more breath. So maybe you feel your belly onto your upper thigh, and then you can release. And just let the legs be straight for a second in Shavasana, or just lying on your back. See your legs feel. You can even swing the ankles from left to right. And then from here, take both knees into your chest. Wrap your hands around either the hamstrings or the tops of the thighs, Apanasana. And then from here, start to swing back and forth on the spine, rolling back and forth across each vertebrae. And then eventually we're going to meet in a ragdoll forward fold at the top of the mat. So however graceful you want to come into that, you can use the momentum or you can use your core strength to lift up. And then your feet are hips distance, that's like 2 fist distance apart from each other, 2 fists between your feet. And then I like to have a little space, it's like a slightly pigeon toe, but the big toe is just allowing the hamstrings to open more back behind me. And then you can have a bend in the knees, keeping the chest, the belly rather to the thighs. That belly to thigh connection as you swing opposite elbow side to side in a ragdoll forward fold. From here, grab your blocks and just place them underneath your hands if you have blocks, otherwise just have your hands on your shins. And then practice a halfway forward fold. So your tailbone is lifting up, back behind you. Your inner thighs are spiraling back behind you, keeping engagement in the legs. And then see if you can retract your shoulder blades like you have a pencil between your shoulder blades. Extend the crown of the head forward, feeling length from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. This is half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Inhale. And then exhale, you can move the blocks to the side as you fold back down, forward fold, Uttanasana. From here, slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, that's a hard thing to say, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Letting your shoulders dangle, shoulders be soft, all the way up to a stand, palms face forward, Tadasana Mountain Pose. Take a breath. Exhale, let anything that's weighing you down go. Feel it. Bring your hands to the center of the chest. Slight space between the hands if you'd like to set an intention, Sankalpa. If that's in your practice, just, intention for moving your body today. What brought you here? If that's a little too woo-woo for you, take what you want from it. Just leave that. Otherwise, you could set an intention now. Maybe it's just being courageous, experiencing joy, gratitude, whatever that may be. And then we'll take a deep inhale. Exhale to seal off the intention. From here, arms reverse swan dive all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute, triceps engage. Exhale, swan dive down, hands coming down the sides like an arc, all the way to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips block shins or mat, tailbone back behind you. Exhale, place the hands down, step one foot back, then the left, you're in plank position. Feet can be hips distance or big toes touching. Push firmly with the hands into the mat, grip with all 10 fingertips. Isometrically squeeze the forearms towards each other, slight bend in the elbows. Protract the shoulder blades, spreading them apart. Hollow out the front body, suck the low belly to spine, pull up with the kneecaps, engage the quadriceps. Imagine like your hands and feet are moving towards each other. Firm the inner thighs, firm the outer glutes. Tuck, slight tuck of the tailbone. Inhale, link the crown of your head all the way to the tailbone. And exhale, lower down. Untuck the toes, preparing for a cobra pose. Fingertips directly, a little slightly underneath the shoulder tips. Inhale, lift up, elbows hug into the body, push the tops of the feet down. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up, cobra pose, grip with the fingertips, pull the mat. Elbows into the spine. Exhale, lower down. Last one, inhale, Bhujangasana. Low belly to spine, pubic bone pushing into the mat. Exhale, release, push back to a child's pose. Balasana. You have the toes touching, knees wide. Anytime you want to take a rest in today's practice, just come back into this child's pose. Feel a link to the side body here, to the side waist. Through the lateral edges of your body. So your latissimus dorsi, the lats, the serratus anterior, all the way up to your pinky fingers. Massage the forehead. And then from here, keep active engagement in the arms. Imagine like your armpits have eyes moving towards each other. Feel length to the sides of the waist. See if you can push firmly, sinking your hips lower towards your heels. One more breath. And then exhale, tuck the toes, come forward into a tabletop position. From here, inhale, cow pose, slight bend in the elbows, heart forward, collarbones wide. Exhale, push your hands into the mat, hollow out the front body, shoulder blades spread apart, cat pose. Two more like that. Inhale, cow pose. Imagine like the back of your head's touching your tailbone, heart open. Exhale, push your hands into the mat. Imagine like you're pushing your heart up to the ceiling, hollowing out the front body. Last one, inhale, cow pose, cow tilt. Exhale, push your hips up and back, downward facing dog, keeping a bend in the knees for now in this Adho Mukha Svanasana. So grip with all 10 fingertips, isometrically squeeze the forearms towards each other, slight supination if you know what that means. And then a wrap of the shoulder blades towards the back body. Imagine like your armpits have eyes looking at each other. Push firmly with the center of the palms into the mat. And then lift up the tailbone like you have a hot air balloon, like your tailbone's a hot air balloon lifting up to the ceiling. Engage the lower belly, sucking the low belly into the spine for now. And then from there, you can start to straighten the legs, bringing the heels towards the mat if that's comfortable. Otherwise, keep a bend in the knees. Downward facing dog. And then eventually you can move the feet more towards each other. Eventually, I like to have big toes touching. That's a preference with a space between the heels, just allowing for a deeper hamstring opening. Take a breath here. From here, inhale, extend the right leg out behind you, engage the right glute, try to keep the hips square. And then exhale, knee to nose. Protract the shoulder blades like you're in a high plank. Inhale, extend the right leg out behind you, right glute engage. Exhale, high plank, suck the knee into the nose. Inhale, last one. Exhale, knee to nose, stay for a breath, see how that feels. And then exhale, step the foot between the hands, lower down the back foot, rise on up, low lunge, untuck the back toes, Anjaneyasana. So the middle toes facing directly back, no sickle in the ankle. Bring a block over here to your right side of your body if you have one. Inhale, arms reach up, imagine Urdhva Hastasana like the beginning. And pinkies roll in, triceps engage. You can gaze up if it's comfortable, left glute engage. Exhale, take the right hand down to the block and you'll take a side stretch in your low lunge. A lot of talking here, but just, there's so many cues we say in a class, and sometimes we only get maybe 1, 2, average about 2 cues you'll take home with you after this to implement into your own routines. So I like to just give as many as I can so you can, hopefully get something out of each practice, eventually making your own. With this block, using it on the highest setting, lowest setting, or you can take it away, but the goal here is just to feel a nice stretch across this lateral left side of your body, all the way up the left side, the lats here, across the tricep, and then over on the pinky edge of your hand, and then you can just slightly push, like you're pushing that wall to the right, but keeping engagement in the right foot still. Not letting it splay out, but keeping that engagement, that internal engagement, everything hugging into the midline. One more breath here. And then exhale, take the hands back up, Anjaneyasana, low lunge, gaze up if it's comfortable. Exhale, frame the front foot, and then shift the hips back, half split, pushing the right heel into the mat. You can tuck the back toes just to, help with the balance here, and then either stay on fingertips or you can come up onto blocks and your half split, and then eventually lowering onto your fingertips. You want to have that cow tilt, that anterior tilt of the pelvis, so the tailbone's lifting up, not a rounded spine, so you have a heart opener in your half splits position. Stay here if it's comfortable in your Ardha Hanumanasana. Otherwise, we'll take a twist, so take the block to the inside of the right foot, placing the left hand on it, and then reaching the right arm up to the sky, so you'll feel a deeper stretch across that right hamstring, and then even feel the stretch all the way up this right side of the body and the right shoulder. Using your core here to help with the twist. Eventually you can lower down the block to no block, placing your left hand on the mat, and eventually you can take your left hand to the outside of the right foot to feel even more engagement. You may be thinking, why would I want more engagement? I'm already dying. But we all have a place to go, and it just takes us a little deeper some of us need to go deeper to feel the same sensation. Engage the inner thighs like scissors. One more breath here, inhale. And then exhale, bring your hands, frame the right foot, rise on up into a crescent lunge. Moving your blocks or any props out of the way as needed. Crescent lunge, Avanasana. So this right hip pulling slightly back, left hip moving forward. Up on the toe mound, the ball of the back left foot. Squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. You can have a slight tuck of the tailbone here. And then reach your arms up. Feel that length through the side waist. Crown of the head elevated. And then from here, take your hands and then interlace the fingers and then open them up to the sky. So your palms are pushing up with the fingers interlaced. Feeling your shoulder blades wrap onto the back body. Take a breath here. And then we'll do a few pulses. So we'll bend the back leg and then exhale to straight. Inhale, bend. Exhale to straight. Inhale, bend, keeping that engagement. Exhale to straight. Inhale, bend. Exhale to straight. Stay. Elevate the shoulder blades as much as you can. Smile if you can. And then exhale, bring the hands to frame the chest. And we'll stay here in our crescent lunge just for a moment. Inhale. And exhale, open up into Warrior Two. Your right leg might be screaming right now, but we'll get off of it in just a second. Inhale, reverse, inhale, Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. From here, we want our heel, the front foot, to be in line with the back arch, or heel to heel, whatever's comfortable for you. Eventually, you want this front foot to be about 90 degrees. It doesn't have to ever be there, but that's what we're working towards. From here, reverse warrior. Inhale, imagine like you're pushing that back wall behind you. And then exhale, cartwheel the left hand to the inside of the right foot. Coming into a simple twist, not so simple. Engage the back leg. Imagine like your inner thighs are scissors as you spiral open your right hand up to the sky. Gazing at the thumb if that's comfortable, otherwise you can keep your gaze down for the balance. Keeping internal engagement here, shoulders away from the ears. Push your left hand into the mat, wrapping the shoulder onto the back body. Inhale. And then exhale, coming into side plank, getting off that right leg for a moment. Might be screaming. So taking the right foot, toe mounds are touching. If you need to modify, you can take this back knee down, front, the left knee down, otherwise coming into side plank, Vashisthasana. And then from here, we'll take some core work. So lift up the right leg. Inhale, extend the right arm overhead. And then exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Stay here or take a wild thing, stretching out the front body just for a moment. So you're lifting up with the hips, opening up the front body, keeping awareness of that shoulder, the left shoulder, that it's not crunching in. And then exhale, see how strong, how slow can you take this right foot to the top of the mat. Maybe you need to use your hands, maybe you don't, but we'll do it for a count of 3, 2, 1. You're back in your simple twist. Stay here for a moment. And then exhale, we'll dance it up into Warrior 2 as you cartwheel the right hand forward, left arm back. You're back in your Warrior 2. And then from here, we'll dance it back. Inhale, reverse warrior, feeling linked to the sideways. Left obliques engage as the right stretch. Exhale, take the right forearm to the front right knee. You're in a modified side angle, Parsvakonasana. Imagine like you're pushing that wall in front of you. Stay here for just a moment. And then inhale, reverse it. Straighten the front right leg. And then heel toe that left foot in just a little bit, shortening the stance as you prepare for triangle pose. So shifting that left hip up, right hip back. Engage through the front right leg as you come into triangle position. Trying to have your torso in line with your legs, in line with the side of your mat, so you're not hunched over. You're feeling length, crown of the head moving towards the front. Imagine like your left hips moving slightly down as the right hip moves up. Stay here for a moment, gazing at the left thumb if that's comfortable. And then exhale, cartwheel the left hand down in front of you, coming into a wide leg forward fold. Right toes pivot to the side of your mat. And then from here, trying to keep that cow tilt to the pelvis. You can have your blocks here to see what that feels like. So push your hands in the blocks and lift your tailbone up to the ceiling. And then from there, slowly start to lower down. Maybe your hands touch, maybe they don't, until Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. You can grab that outsides of your feet. You can reach your hands back underneath the legs, and then start to slowly walk your hands further and further and gazing up. You might fall over, but just playing with the poses, seeing what your body can do, being curious. We'll stay here for just a moment. Keep that inner thigh engagement. Imagine like your feet moving towards each other, keeping active engagement in these stretches. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, pivot this right foot 45 degrees towards the front left corner of your mat as you slowly start to bend into it. And then slowly pick up the left toe so they're facing up towards the sky, Skandasana. If ankle flexibility is a problem, you can always come onto the tip toe of your right foot and then use your hands to keep balance, or you can lower it down and bring your hands to your chest if you have the flexibility here. And then you can push this right elbow into the right knee, opening up a little more, knee into elbow, elbow into knee. Maybe you open up the arms, whatever is comfortable in your Skandasana, surfer's lunge. And then like you're surfing, see if you can, as low as you can, surf over onto the other side, onto the other foot, so left foot facing the back corner of your mat, and right toe is pivoting up to the sky, doing the same variation you did on the other, or maybe something different. One side may be tighter than the other, and that's normal. We all have sides. We use dominant sides, dominant hands, dominant feet. Maybe you got an injury in one and it took some of the strength out. Maybe one side is more flexible, but just observing that, not judging it. Taking a wingspan if you did on the other side. And then exhale, we'll glide forward to the front of the mat, framing this front right foot. Stepping in back plank pose. I'll move these blocks so you can see. Staying in plank for a moment. Feet can be hips distance or big toes touching. And exhale, lower down for a count of 5, 4, 3. We're coming into Chaturanga 2, 1, meaning shoulders are in line with the elbows. Chest is forward. Take a breath here, inhale. Engage everything. Exhale, lower down. Try not to plop. Frame the chest, inhale, cobra pose, pushing the tops of the feet into the mat, pubic bone to the mat, low belly to spine. Lift up the heart, and then exhale, push back into child's. Stay for a breath. Gliding forward back into cobra pose. Inhale, cobra. Maybe slightly higher, maybe upward facing dog if that's in your practice. And exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Move this block. From your downward facing dog, inhale, left leg up to the ceiling, left glute engage, hips square. Exhale, knee to nose, protract the shoulder blades. Inhale, 2 more like that, left glute engage, hips square. Maybe the right heel grounds. Exhale, coming up into high plank with knee to nose. Inhale, last one, left glute engaged. Firm the inner thighs. Push with the fingertips. Exhale, knee to nose, making space. Stay for a breath. Hollow out the front body. Exhale, place the left foot between the hands. Lower the back foot. Untuck the toes. Rise on up. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Feel a link through the sideways, bringing that block onto the left side this time. Keeping the middle toes of the back foot facing directly back. So you don't want like a sickle in the ankle or anything like that. You want to push firmly into the mat. There's no shoulds though. I mean, there's options and things you can do, but it's all to feel good in the body. There's no right or wrong, there just is. Take your left hand to the block, and then reach your right hand over, keeping active engagement in that right glute, feeling a stretch across the right side of the leg, all the way up the right side body, all the way up the tricep to your pinky finger. This lateral side of your body. Maybe you lower the block down a little bit. Maybe you use no block. But these props, they're there to help you. They're not a crutch or anything. Even when you have mastered, say, the splits, you can even use the props to go deeper, pushing a heel on top of it. So there's always choices. You have choices of what to do in each posture. There's options with what we want to use the props for. Just like there's options in life. All right, one more breath here. Enough of me talking. Exhale, reach the arms back up. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. You can gaze up if it's comfortable, slight back bend. Exhale, shift the hips back, spiking that left heel into the mat, like you're dragging it back behind you isometrically, but it's staying right there. Left hip back, right hip forward, half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. Engage the inner thighs, energize the inner thighs. As my teacher Kathy likes to say, or said one time and I remembered it, whatever it is. And slight anterior tilt of the pelvis, lifting the tailbone up to the ceiling. Staying here. Options like on the other side, using the block for the twist, taking a twist and half split. You can use the block. You can start to lower the block, taking your hand to the mat. Or maybe you reach that right hand across the left foot, keeping active engagement in the legs and the inner thighs as you reach the left arm, moving from the chest, the core, above the navel, above the belly button, in a twisted half split. Parvita Ardha Hanumanasana. All right, stay here for a moment, and then take your hands and frame the left foot, stepping into the heel, rising on up, adjusting your stance as needed so your feet are about hips distance apart like they're on 2 railroad tracks, and rise on up your crescent lunge Alanasana. So engage this right glute. The more you engage it, the more you'll feel a stretch across this top of the right thigh. Try to have the right hip moving slightly forward, left hip back. Maybe there's a slight tuck of the tailbone. Reach the arms up, feel a link to the side waist, inhale. Exhale, soften. Take one more breath here, glutes engaged. And then exhale, open up, warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So this front heel is in line with the middle arch of this back foot. Slight pigeon toe of the back foot as well, so the blade edge, that pinky side edge, is parallel with the back of your mat. Imagine like your feet are dragging towards each other isometrically, allowing your groin to open more. See if you can engage the side of your leg, pushing out through that pinky toe edge. Maybe you tap the outer glute, the glute medius, to feel it engage. And then if it's comfortable on the neck, you can start to gaze over the middle finger. Otherwise, just keep your gaze, to the right side of your mat, whatever's comfortable. Take a breath here, inhale. Exhale, soften. Your left glute might be screaming. Inhale, reverse warrior, Viparita, Virabhadrasana, pushing that back wall behind you. Exhale, frame the inside of this right foot. And then coming into a simple twist. So the right hand outside of the inside of the left foot, reaching the left hand up to the ceiling. I almost forgot where we were going, but you might have noticed, maybe you didn't. Well, now you know. All right, so feeling a nice stretch across the side of the body. Twisting above the navel here. Try to wrap that right shoulder onto the back body. One breath here. And then exhale, take the left foot on top of the right, Vashisthasana, side plank, modifying the right knee down as needed. Stay in side plank, pushing firmly the right hand into the mat, gripping with all 10 fingertips. Imagine like the biceps slightly wrapping forward as the tricep wraps back. See if you can keep the outer hips engaged here. Feel an arc through the waist. Imagine like you're stretching this right side body, so you're engaging these right obliques, kind of contracting them towards each other as the left obliques stretch here. And then from here, take the left hand over, extend, and then exhale, elbow to knee, coming back into that core work. Inhale, extend, left arm over, exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend, exhale, elbow to knee. Stay here, or you can modify lower down. And then from here, we can take a wild thing, variation, Kamakharasana, dancer's bridge, whatever you want to call it. Stretching the side body, lifting the hips up. Maybe the hand comes behind your neck, smile. And then exhale as slowly as you can. Take your left foot to the front of the mat. You can even extend it. This may look crazy to some people, it did to me at first, but try to do it for a count of 3, 2, 1. And then you're going to cartwheel back open into warrior 2. Virabhadrasana 2. All right. From here, we'll do those dancing pulses, so reverse warrior, inhale, right hand down the right back thigh, left hand pushes the back of the wall, back of the room, and then exhale, left elbow to front left knee as the right hand extends over, feeling length across the right side body. One more like that, inhale, reverse warrior, and exhale, left forearm to left knee, Parsa Konasana. Inhale, reverse warrior, extend the front left leg, reverse triangle, and then heel toe pivot that right foot in a little bit, shifting the hips back for triangle pose. So this right hip moving up, left hip pulling back. Engagement in the front left leg, front left foot, push firmly into the mat with the left big toe mount. And then if it's comfortable, you can gaze at that right thumb. So you want to feel a stretch across the lateral side of your body, and there's a slight twist. So your chest is opening up to the sky. Chest is parallel with the side of your mat. One more breath here. And then exhale, take the right hand down, and then pivot the left foot towards the back, the right side of your mat. Then you're in a wide leg forward fold. Then I'll just adjust my stance so you are not staring at my butt. And we're in Prana Sarita Padasana, so taking the anterior tilt again. And if you'd like, we can take a twist here. So you'll take your left hand to the center of the mat, reaching the right arm up. Take a breath here, keeping engagement in the inner thighs, trying to square the hips still. And then exhale, lower down the right hand and twist to the other side. You can always play with a half bind as well. If you like to play with that eventually in your practice, exhale, lower down the left hand. This time you're going to take the heels and toes out, so the toes are facing kind of towards the corners of your mat. Eventually they're like more parallel, but at first they may be more diagonal as you come into goddess position. So imagine like your thighs are moving, your heels are moving towards each other, opening up your groins more. Don't let the knees buckle in. You're trying to move the knees outward, moving the knees towards the toes, keeping the knee in line with the second toe. And you can start to sway side to side. And then from here, we'll take the palms to the insides of the knees if they're not already. Take an inhale, open up the chest, open up the collarbones. Exhale, dip the right shoulder in, gazing over your left shoulder for a little twist. Inhale, expand, open up the heart. Exhale, left shoulder dips. We'll do 2 more like that each side. Inhale, open. Exhale, right shoulder dips. Inhale, open. Exhale, left shoulder dips. Inhale, open. Exhale, right shoulder dips. See if you can push that right hand, maybe straightening the right arm a little more as you gaze over the left. Inhale, open. Collarbones wide. Exhale, pushing that left hand into the inner left thigh. Inhale, rise on up. You're in like a pyramid stance. Reach the arms overhead. And then exhale, frame that front right foot, stepping it back and going through a vinyasa. So we'll lower down into Chaturanga Dandasana this time. Squeeze the hands towards each other. Shoulders are in line with the elbows. And then inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Push the tops of the feet into the mat, glutes engaged, heart proud. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So if you see how your hamstrings feel at this point, and you feel a lot more open. Hopefully they feel a lot more open. And you can start to play with, reaching the heels towards the mat. They may never get there. It may take a long time. But, each time you come to your mat, you can just see where your body is. It's just a nice check-in. And then once your heels start to reach the mat, the days they don't, you notice that you're not as open as you might be. But just observe it. Don't judge your body. Appreciate it for where it is. Enjoy the moments. Knowing that the less tension you have in your mind, the less tension you have in your body, they're connected to each other. Stay in your downward dog for just one more breath. And then exhale, lower down and push your hips back into a child's pose. Balasana. Observe if you feel any more length to your side waist here. From here, coming to the back of your mat on your knees, bring your blocks with you. Placing your blocks on the outsides of your heels. Just playing with a little camel variation. Tuck the toes for now. If you already have a comfortable camel in your practice, you can just keep the toes untucked, but I'll have them tucked for now. So inhale, reach the arms up like we're in Urdhva Hastasana. Firm the legs, firm the inner thighs. And then exhale, take the left hand, so this block back behind you as you reach the right arm back, feeling a stretch across this right side body. Just feeling an opening across the front of the chest, all the way out through that pinky finger of the right hand. And then exhale, you'll come back up and you'll feel like you're hollowing out the front body as you bring the right hand to that block on the outside of the leg, extending the left arm. And then you can keep playing with that. If you'd like to remove the blocks, you can go ahead, and eventually you'll start to have these nice camel sweeps. So you'll extend the right arm, opening up the chest, and then you'll hollow out the front body, kind of like doing cat-cow and camel, and then lifting up the left hand, gazing over the left fingertips if the gaze is comfortable. Otherwise, keep your gaze neutral. And then you'll do two more like that. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, open. And then exhale, contract. So it's expanding, contracting. One last one. And then we'll meet back in a neutral tabletop position. Just see how your spine felt after that. So a lot of the times with splits, we think just the hamstrings, but it's also the front body as well, the back leg. So the back leg's in a back bend. We don't observe that as much. We'll take a few rounds of cat-cow while I keep talking. So inhale, cow pose, cow tilt. And then exhale, cat pose. Two more like that on your own. So in the splits, the back leg's in a back bend. The front leg's more like in a forward fold. And if you keep the pelvis up neutral, you kind of have both. And then as you fold forward, it becomes more of a hamstring stretch. And if you lean back, it's more of a back bend. So it's like kind of two poses in one. From here, we'll push our hips up and back into downward facing dog. Gaze between your thumbs, take an inhale. And then exhale, step or hop to the front of your mat into a forward fold position, bringing your strap with you if it's not there, or you can use a towel, a shirt, and then we'll slowly rise on up into mountain pose. From here, take the strap, and you will take it underneath the right sole of the foot, grasping with the hand, and you'll take your left hand to your left hip, take a nice bend in the knee for now, and then reach on up. And so your strap is in your hand, the knee is bent, playing with the balance here. as we prepare to extend the leg. It may be bent still, but using the strap to help with that, into extended big toe to hand. You can stay here with the strap, try to relax the shoulders, try to bring the hips square, so tugging that right hip in more, inner thighs engage, the right toe not facing directly up. If it's comfortable, you can start to walk. You don't need the strap. You can walk the hand and grab the big toe here, and then just play. You can stay here. Maybe you play with grabbing the outside of the foot. Maybe you play with just using no hand and just keeping it up there. And then you'll stay for just a few more breaths. Whatever that means to you, maybe 1 breath, maybe 3. And then exhale wherever you are, just lower back down the leg as we prepare to do the same thing on the other side. So from here, take the strap around the left foot, take it into the left hand, take your right hand to right hip, slight bend in the right knee as you lift up, bending at the left knee, and then extending the leg out as far as it can go. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Relax your body here, relax your mind. The balance here could be tricky as well. And then if it's comfortable, you can start to walk your hand towards the big toe, taking a yogi toe lock with the middle and pointer finger and thumb. Keeping active engagement in the left leg, pushing out to that left heel. Maybe you grab that outside edge, maybe you leave it there, and you'll just stay. Maybe you reach your arms overhead. Maybe you smile. You have so many options here. Just do what feels good in your body. Keep active engagement in the inner thighs like they're squeezing towards each other. 1 more breath here, inhale. Exhale, lower down the left foot, and then forward fold, ragdoll. Just sway your hips side to side. See how that feels in your body. And then before coming into the full splits, we'll take standing splits on each leg. And that may intimidate you as well. It's a very challenging posture. It takes active flexibility here. But it's also a reminder of, where your body is actively. So we can force ourselves into certain positions like the splits and, trying to get somewhere that we may not be ready for. And, injury happens when awareness is lost. When we're not being present in the moment and trying to get somewhere else in our minds. With that being said, take an inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, bring your right foot more towards the center as you lift the left leg up back behind you. So like in a warrior 3, your hips are directly square, but in standing split, to get the left leg higher, you can slightly open that left hip. Kind of, the left hip points facing more towards the left side or more upwards. And then you can take your right hand behind your right calf and then pulling up with the calf to get a little deeper into that right hamstring. Keeping active engagement in the inner thighs. Trying to straighten out the top leg by engaging that left glute. Taking 1 more breath here in your standing split. And then exhale as slowly as possible, lower down that left leg. Back next to the right, and then go directly to the other side. Don't think about it, just lift that right leg up to the ceiling, right glute engaged, trying to extend the right leg to straight. Left hand behind the left calf, pulling in, trying to keep belly to thigh connection. And some standing splits you may look like this, and that's completely fine. And over time, as your body starts to open and get more flexible, you'll just be able to feel more sensation. But we're all going for the same sensation. So if you're right here, you have so much, room to play and grow. So be excited about it. Don't think, oh my gosh, I'll never get there. Because, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's all in your mind. Whatever you tell yourself is what's true for you. Take 1 more breath here. Exhale, lower down the right leg next to the left. Come into a malasana position. So lowering down the hips. You may notice that there's less lighting now, as I started this class a little later, but some things don't go always according to plan. All right, push the elbows into knees, knees into elbows, opening up the collarbones, opening up the hips here. And then, you can be up on your toes or block underneath you, whatever's in your flexibility, but just stay here for a few moments in your malasana squat, yogi squat, or Asian squat. I remember doing this a lot when I lived in Japan. a lot of squat toilets, so I associated this pose with going to the bathroom when I first got into yoga. Just a fun fact of today. All right, so we'll lower down our butt and plop asana onto the ground, plop your ass on the ground, plop, I don't know, maybe you didn't plop and you gracefully lowered down, good for you. All right, lower down onto your back, and then just extend the legs back up to how they were at the beginning of class, let the blood flow before we get into the splits, and just see how your legs feel right now. Don't judge it, just observe it. And then from here, we'll slowly sort of rock and roll like we did at the beginning. And however you want to get there, we'll come into a downward facing dog. If you play with like handstands and crazy stuff, you can go ahead and do that. I know, there's probably a few of you watching that like to try that stuff. So if you'll lift up, maybe you pistol up, and you come into chaturanga, and then cobra or upward facing dog, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Did you think I was gonna do a handstand? Not today. That's another day. All right, inhale, extend the right leg up to the ceiling, right glute engaged. Exhale, step the right foot between the hands, rising on up, low lunge. So here, low lunge can also be thought of as a back bend, as that back leg's extending. We talked about earlier, so this left glute engaged, extend the arms up. Maybe you reach slightly back into a back bend. And then from here, you'll shift back, bring your blocks with you for now, and shift your hips back half split, so spiking that right foot into the mat. And before we take half split, we'll take some core activation and just play with putting some strength into our hamstring openers. So using the blocks underneath the hands, rounding the back slightly, and see if you can lift up, engaging your quadricep, engaging your hip flexors to lift up this right leg, and then lower. Maybe your foot didn't come up. You may be like, what's he doing? But just imagine it lifting up, and eventually one day it will. Exhale, push into the mat, hollow out the front body, lower it back down. We'll do one more like that, inhale. And exhale, hollow out the front body, push into the blocks, maybe on your fingertips, lower back down the heel. And then from here, you'll slowly start to pivot or, inch that back foot back behind you, keeping engagement in this front right heel. And then you'll take this block onto the high setting and then just put it underneath your right hamstring and push hamstring into block and just see that, keeping engagement. And the more, this is a proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, just a fancy way, it's called PNF, just a fancy way of saying like by activating into the muscle and then releasing, you can, feel a deeper stretch in the muscle. So after you've done that for a little bit, you release, just see if you can get a little deeper. And we'll do that one more time. You can come into the lowest setting. If you're already in the splits, you can just push the hamstring into the top of into the mat, into the floor. Some of you may be thinking, what the hell? People do that? Yeah. Eventually you can. We'll stay here one more breath. Try to pull this right hip back, left hip forward. You can untuck the back foot if that's more comfortable. Just try not to have a sickle in the ankle. Try to have those middle toes facing directly back. Inhale, crown of the head up. And then exhale, we'll come into the full splits, wherever that is for you. Maybe up here, and that's perfectly fine. But for now, if your pelvis is not on the ground yet, if you don't have, both, like your entire pelvis rooted down, then you want to have like a more upright posture, just to protect the hamstring and protect the low back. And then eventually, once you don't need the blocks anymore, you can just come onto the fingertips. And you can either options move the chest forward, or you can, tilt back in your splits, more of a back bend, going back this way. And then you can reach your hands up if you don't need the blocks or the floor anymore for balance, keeping active engagement in the inner thighs. Imagine like the inner thighs moving towards each other like scissors, so the inner thighs are moving in as the outer legs are stretching, moving further away from each other. Inhale, feel a link to the side waist. Pinkies in, triceps engage. And then exhale, maybe take a back bend. I know that may be crazy to think of doing a back bend and the splits, but just working towards it one day. From here, bring out your blocks again, pushing firmly into the blocks, activating into the hamstring like you did with those core activators, and see if you can pick up the heel and just as slowly as you can inch it forward. And then frame the right foot, step it back into a down dog. And just pedaling it out. Seeing if one leg feels tighter than the other. Your left leg probably feels much tighter than the right now, and that's fine. Just observe it, and then inhale, lift the left leg up to the ceiling, left glute engaged. Exhale, step the left foot between the hands. Lower down the right knee, back leg, and then you're in a low lunge just for a moment. Make sure there's no sickle in the back foot. Inhale, reach the arms up, maybe take a slight back bend. Opening up the heart, feeling like the heart's moving up to the sky. And then exhale, shifting the hips back, bringing the blocks with you as you prepare for some leg lifts in our half split. Just getting a nice engagement into that deep core, the transverse abdominis, and the hip flexors as well. So take an inhale, anterior tilt, and then exhale, hollow out the front body. You try to lift up that left leg. 2 more like that. Inhale. Exhale, push into the blocks. Maybe you don't need the blocks, and you can use the fingertips. Inhale. Exhale, hollow it out. Lift up the leg, and then plant it, and then slowly shift the hips back, bringing the blocks with you, preparing for full splits. So you can take the top of the block underneath the left hamstring, and just push hamstring into block. Feeling engagement through your hamstring, engaging it before the opening. Pulling that right hip forward, left hip back. 1 breath here, inhale. Exhale, release the block. Slowly start to shift the hips back. And then you'll take the block again, maybe the lowest setting, maybe the floor. And just push your hamstring into the block for a count of 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Coming into your full splits, Hanumanasana, monkey pose. Just stay for a moment. You can take a forward fold, you can take a back bend, you can untuck the back foot. Keeping the hips square as much as you can. That's bunching up for me right now, but whatever. Just go with the flow. It doesn't have to be perfect. Inhale, you can reach the arms up if the pelvis is grounded. Maybe you take a slight back bend. Maybe you take a forward fold. You can demonstrate that. So forward fold, you're keeping that anterior tilt of the pelvis so that left hip's moving slightly up, trying to square off the hips. You can slowly move forward. And then maybe you put your elbows to the mat and you pull the chest through for a heart opener still. You can keep a heart opener in your forward fold. And then what I've done over time to open up into the back leg and play with active flexibility, you can start to bend that back leg in your splits. But that's, teach that in another day. Okay, raise back on up, and then keeping engagement. Bring the blocks nearby if you need them. Pushing in, using the activation of the inner core to bring the left leg back, and you'll frame the front left foot and step back, downward facing dog. Just observe how the back of the legs feel. And then from here, lower down the knees, crossing the ankles, and then just shifting your hips back. Coming back onto your back how we started. Legs up the wall. And just to counteract all that, we'll take a reclined cow face leg. So you'll take the right leg over the left, right knee over the left rather, and then you can either grab the shins, pulling the legs apart, or maybe the ankles, or maybe the blade edges of the feet. This is a reclined Gomukhasana, and then you can have a flight in the toes. It's like flexing and pointing at the same time, and just feel an outer glute stretch as your legs move into more internal rotation. Trying to ground the low back to the mat. Take a breath here, feel length through the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head, shoulders relaxed. And then exhale, switch, left knee on top of the right, hands to the shins, the blade edges, the ankles, wherever's comfortable for you, don't force it. Just observe your body where it is today. Appreciate your body for what it can do, not what it can. Take an inhale here. Exhale, release everything. Take an inhale. Exhale, bring your knees to your chest. Give them a squeeze. Exhale, soften your body. Inhale, squeeze one last time. You can bring your forehead towards your knees. Maybe you kiss your knees. Be weird like me, and then extend everything out into Shavasana, corpse pose. It's probably pretty dark in the video. Maybe that's just how today was supposed to go. Start with light and slowly work towards, mellowing it out. Coming to a more relaxed position near the end. Balancing out the sun, the moon, that fire, cold, light and dark. It's all just polarity. Strengthening the opening, finding the balance between it all, that happy medium. No right, no wrong, there just is. There's just this present moment. The future is just a thought and the present moment. Reminiscing or, regretting the past is just another thought and the present moment. So in your Shavasana, just release your mind, your breath, everything, and just come into a deep and utter relaxation on your mat, observing your thoughts like clouds in the sky, like waves in the ocean, letting them pass without giving any power to them. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. I'll come up into a seated position. If you'd like to take a seated meditation, you're welcome to do that as well. Everybody stay in Shavasana. I take my hands to the front of my chest in a symbol of gratitude for you guys showing up to your mat today, joining me in practicing with me, taking time out of your day, and also gratitude for this practice and all the teachers before me and before us that allow us to continue practicing like this. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.